Hi everyone, my name is Vijay and I'm here today with my first ever video. Today I'm going to be doing a spotlight on divitarai, Miss India, and my thoughts about her and just talking about her in general. This is my first ever video, but I am going to be attending Miss Universe Live in New Orleans. So if you want to follow me over there, I will post a two-part vlog. The first part being me just getting there and arriving there, and the second part being me actually at the competition. So make sure that you guys subscribe and like this video. And without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to make this not very edited because one, I'm not that good at editing yet. I need to figure it out. And two, I want it to be very much discussion oriented. I just want to preface that this is just my opinion. These are just my thoughts. This is not indicative of how Divita will do, Miss India. It's just my personal opinions, and I definitely invite you to disagree, agree, or just formulate your own opinion as long as it is respectful. Please do not tear me down. Please do not tear others down, and definitely do not tear down Miss India Divitarai, because we want to just make sure that we're fostering an environment that is supportive of everyone and all the girls. They've worked so hard for this, so they definitely deserve our love and our support. Sorry, I was putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. So going forward, I just want to I have a little checklist here that I want to kind of go over. And the first thing I want to talk about is the leaderboards. So many of you guys, if you guys are paying attention, you guys know that pageant pages, pageant vloggers, bloggers, and all of the above have a tendency to put out leaderboards of who they feel like are going to make the top 20, 16, top 10, top 5, or in this year's case, top 7, but I think most pages are still doing it the top 20, 10, and 5 format. So if you guys are paying attention to those, you will notice that Miss India Divitarai is not really ranking very high on a lot of them. In fact, she's barely making the cut on a lot of people's leaderboards for top 20, let alone top 10. A lot of people put her around 11, like at the cutoff. And I don't think I've seen a single one put her as the winner or in the top 5. And I kind of want to go through my thoughts on Miss India Divitarai, maybe why that is, and whether I agree or disagree with a lot of people's rankings. So let's just talk a little about Miss Divitarai in general and a little bit about her. So first I want to touch on her advocacy. So her advocacy is surrounding education. If I recall correctly, she does a really good job at emphasizing education and access to education and educational equity within India, especially educational opportunities that are extended to girls and women. And I think that's really great. I think in India, there is a lack of educational opportunities for women. And before anyone comes at me for any of my comments regarding India, I am Indian American, so I do have the right to talk about the country of my origin. So yeah, please don't come at me about India. I will be a little bit biased because I am half Indian. So yeah, I think her advocacy is great when it comes to education. Of course, we're probably all familiar, if you're an avid pageant fan, that Miss Universe and a lot of the umbrella Miss Universe organizations such as Miss India always partner every year with Smile Train. I think it's great. Smile Train is an organization that really emphasizes bringing relief and help to families that have maybe children with cleft lip or cleft palate. So I think it's great, and I think Divita has also partaken in that as well to some extent. Something that really stood out to me though about Divita in particular, that maybe I haven't seen a lot from other Miss Indias, maybe a little bit, but not to the extent that Divita has been doing, is her highlighting members of the LGBTQIA plus population, specifically the Indian trans community. I know that in a recent interview that Divita did with a predominant member of the Indian trans community, who unfortunately is slipping my mind right now, but I'll put it in the description down below who that is. She had a really great opening discussion. I think it's good that Divitarai, to my knowledge, is not LGBTQIA plus identifying, yet she's still trying to highlight and use her platform in order to really provide space for members of the LGBTQIA plus community, especially the trans community, who oftentimes in India do not have a voice and are not really heard. So I think it's a great job that she's doing. I hope that she continues to do that. She also, I don't know if you guys noticed, she's in New Orleans now, but one of her outfits in New Orleans actually was a like pride dress almost. It had like the pride flag colors on the top near the bra, and I thought it was really great. I wasn't a fan of the dress, but I thought the message behind the dress was amazing. So yeah, kudos to her for that. I think advocacy is not an issue at all when it comes to Miss India Divitarai. So let's move on to her styling. I think personally, Miss India has always kind of struggled with styling their queens a little bit. I've always felt like they could do a much better job at styling their queens. It's just hit or miss. I think they've done a lot better since Eileen Castellino, Miss India 2020. I think then it really kind of projected upwards. But even with Hernaz last year, there were just some outfits that I felt like were a complete miss or just didn't make sense to me. And with Divita, I'm already starting to notice some of those concerns, in my opinion. But I will say this much when it comes to styling. If an outfit does not maybe come off as eye-catching, I think that's less important. I think what's more important is that the queen herself feels confident. And I think a prime example is Herna Sandhu, Miss Universe 2021. Her evening gown itself was not anything, in my opinion, that was just out of this world or extraordinary or super eye-catching, but her confidence was. So if an outfit makes a girl feel super confident, you will feel that, you will notice that. And I'd rather have Divita stay authentic and wear things that makes her feel confident and she can project herself in confidently than wear things that are eye-catching that she's not comfortable in or wouldn't wear on a normal basis. So I will, to Miss India's credit, maybe they're just trying to keep it authentic to the girl, and I will say that. But I think when it comes to styling for Divita particularly, to me, Divita reminds me of like the cuteness of Susmita Sen, but also the poise and etiquette of Ladadatta. And I feel like she's almost like a combination of the two, but also her own individual self, right? So I think she leans more towards the cute side rather than like the fierce, sexy side. And so because of that, I would like to see her in maybe more fierce outfits, more out there and daring outfits, because I think it would really complement just her overall aura. She has a very cutesy aura. Like, she seems like a very approachable, very kind person. So I'd love to see like a little va-va voom. I mean, she definitely has the physique for it, and she definitely, when she's doing her pasarela, when she's doing her walk, she definitely has the attitude to pull it off. So I would just like to see her do that, or not do that, but wear some outfits that are a little bit more daring or risky, just because I think that she would really benefit from that balance of her cuteness, but then, oh wow, I wasn't expecting her to come in with something like daring, for example. So moving forward with that, because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. It's only my first video, and I'm not going to edit it much. Let's talk about her walk. So when it comes to her walk or her pasarela, I'm not going to speak too much on the evening gown. I really haven't seen much when it comes to evening gown for Miss India Divitarai. I mostly am going to speak on her swimsuit walk that I've seen. Let's start off with her national pageant last year when she was competing against her Sandhu. Her walk then was already great. I think she even won best in swimsuit that year. But I could stand corrected, so please someone correct me if I'm wrong, but her walk was never an issue to me. Like, she never had an issue with her walk. I think that if you put her on Miss Universe 2021 last year with that same walk that she had, she would have done fine. Like, she would have definitely advanced on to top 10 evening gown for sure. So it's only gotten better. So really great kudos and big props to her coach. I think her coach's name is Alicia. I know it's like Ali Loves Gym or something. Yeah, it's Ali Loves Gym. It looks like it's Alicia Raut. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. I'm Indian and I still can't pronounce that last name. I apologize. But regardless, Ali Loves Gym on Instagram. I think she trained Herna Sandhu last year, but she's doing an incredible job with Divitarai. Divita already had a really great baseline. I think that Ali and Divita both came together and really found a way to bring more of Divita's personality into it and make it even that much more va-va voom. I love the harmony of the fact that Divita, appearance-wise, is very cute, but when you see her do that walk, when she's in that swimsuit like bikini, when she is in that moment, in that zone, fierce, queen, like she goes from a princess to a queen. Like, you cannot tell me otherwise. Hands down to me, one of the best walkers in the competition when it comes to swimsuit. I will say that there's just one thing I personally would like to see Divita work on when it comes to her walk, and I see this very constructively because I think she's already perfect. But I don't know if you all remember last year during the preliminaries with Herna Sandhu, during the preliminaries, her Naz's walk was phenomenal, but it was a little fast, right? Like, did anyone catch that too? The pace of her walk was like slightly, a little bit fast. And I feel like during the finals, her Naz kind of slowed it down, and she didn't take anything away, right? She still kept the sway of her hips and the stillness of her shoulders, and her face and attitude and her aura were just like still projecting perfectly. So her Naz didn't take anything away from her walk. She just simply slowed it down a bit. And I think that if you look at the raw video on Ali Loves Gym Instagram of Divitarai in her swimsuit, I think it's a little fast. So I think if Divita can do everything the same, but just slow it down a little bit, because it is a swimsuit walk, you still want like that upbeat pace. I think it'll be great, because even though it is swimsuit, we want that upbeat pace. We also want to be able to enjoy Divita on stage, and I feel like that's a little difficult if she's walking, you know, like 50 miles per hour. Even though she would do that beautifully and stunningly, I think that she would benefit from being just a little, like literally just like a hair slower. And I don't think anyone could touch her when it comes to swimsuit. That's just my personal opinion. For evening gown, I can't speak to her much on evening gown, but what I can say is if you watched her crowning ceremony, that girl can walk down some stairs, okay, in a dress. And that dress that she wore for her crowning ceremony, it had fabric flying everywhere. Like there was fabric here, there, and all the above. So I don't know how she didn't trip down those flight of stairs. If it was me, I would have been like, ugh. But she didn't. Like, she kept her composure. Maybe it's a Miss India thing. I don't know if you guys noticed her Naz Sandhu, but that girl can walk some stairs. And thank the Lord Divitarai can too, because I've seen some of the other girls who at their national competition, they had stairs and they weren't able to handle it very well when it was thrown at them. I don't think, inshallah, waheguru de kirpana, I don't want to put any bad luck on her, but I don't think that Divita will have that problem. Knock on wood. So moving forward from the walk, let's go on, because we're already at 12 minutes now, and I'm not editing this video. I will have better video quality and editing in the future, but not right now. We're too close to competition. It's not the time to learn how to edit. So let's move on to speaking, is what I have next on the list in the agenda. When it comes to speaking, I don't even think we need to talk about this. Like, we don't even need to speak on Divita speaking. She's a queen. Let's just put it that way. She's literally a queen. Divita speaking is phenomenal. She speaks so well. She's so poised, but yet so empathetic when she speaks, and so relatable. The only thing I want to see on stage, because I haven't really seen a lot of Divita on stage, only like a few clips, I want to see her project confidently the way her Naz did. Here's the thing. I wasn't blown away by her Naz's answer. I think it was the best out of all the other girls, personally. I think she did the best. So I think she deserved her win for sure. I mean, she's Punjabi, I'm Punjabi. Of course, I'm going to support my Punjabio. But her confidence is what sold it, right? In fact, like, let's just use for reference Bea Luigi Gomez. I thought Bea should have been top 3 based on just the content of her speech. But I think what prevented her from moving to top 3 was there was maybe a lack of confidence, maybe because of a language barrier or something. But her Naz stood there, you know, like hands on chest, like arch back, like head high. So I think if Divita can deliver the content of her speech, because she's just so intelligent, mashallah, she's so intelligent. If she can just deliver that with confidence, she's golden. Like, she's golden. And let me put it this way. I might be biased because I am South Asian, I am Desi, I am Indian American. Do not let Divita get to top 7. They're doing top 7 this year, not top 5 for whatever reason. But don't let her get there, because if you do, don't say I didn't warn you, okay? Don't say I didn't warn you. I warned you, period. That's all I'm going to say about that. Don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say I didn't warn you. Moving forward, let's talk about the leaderboard conclusion. That's what I have on my list. I said that I'm going to talk about leaderboard. So circling back to the leaderboard, what are my thoughts on the leaderboard? Do I think it makes sense that Divita is being placed so low on the leaderboards? Sometimes she's not even on them. Other times she's on them, but barely. Do I think that it makes sense? Well, let's just talk about leaderboards in general. They're just opinions, right? And Divita made a really good point on one of her interviews with, I believe it's Natalie, the former Miss Universe. Please don't come at me if that's not her name. But I think her name is, Natalie Glebova. Please forgive me if I mispronounced that. But I believe her name is Natalie Glebova. She's Miss Universe 2005. I was a little kid in 2005, hence why I don't know. I was very young in 2005. But she did an interview with her that I watched, and she made a really good point that the leaderboards initially affected her, but now they don't as much because she realizes they're just opinions. And we don't get to see anything that Divita is doing behind the scenes. We really don't know what she's doing, which I wish Miss India would do a lot more. Miss India, if you're watching this, I need you guys to follow Missphilippines, like when it comes to how they run their competition, how they run their social media. Same with Miss Thailand. Like I think Miss India has done a great job at improving. I'm a communications major. I have experience in marketing. Hit me up. I will literally like glam the heck out of your guys' Instagram and social media. I would love to do it for free. Anyways, so I don't think it makes sense why Miss India and Divitarai is not honestly in the top 7 at the minimum. And here's why. Before we even get to the walking for swimsuit competition, before we get to that evening gown, we have to take into consideration the closed door interview. Divita will go through a closed door interview as will all the other girls, and Divita, from what we know, can speak. This is what I said about Bea Luigi Gomez to my friends last year. I don't know if Bea would make top 16. But I do know if she does, it's an automatic top 5. Because Bea can walk. Her issue was never her walk. Bea can walk. She can project. And there's some girls I feel about that now. For example, Miss Philippines, Miss Venezuela. Those are 2 girls who, if they get into the top 20, I know they're going to the top 7 automatically. Perhaps even Miss Thailand or Miss Vietnam, right? Just throwing out some names. And I think Miss India is one of those girls. I don't know how anyone is looking at her walk and not thinking that if she makes the top 20 or top 16, she won't be like zooted to top 7. Unless something goes really wrong, like Amanda Abdom, right? Like when she did her pastorela for her evening gown, she had a little stumble and perhaps it prevented her from going to top 5. But unless something like that happens, I don't see why people aren't like, to me, if you think Divita's going to make the top 20 at all, you should think that she's making the top 7. Let me put it that way. Because her pastorela, her walk, I don't think is the issue. And we know that every year at Miss Universe, realistically, and it's not for, it's no one's fault. There's just some countries that don't have the same pageant resources as those more powerhouse countries do. But realistically, about 30% of the girls are really good walkers, and the other 70% are somewhere between okay and maybe not very well trained for various reasons, right? I think Divita definitely falls within the 30% that are very good. And so I think that she has a very high chance of making it forward. Inshallah, I agree with the Kibana, knock on wood. I don't want to put any nazar or I don't want to put any evil eye on her or jinx her. But I personally have Divita in my top 7, and I would do a leaderboard. So that's a little bit of a spoiler, but as of now, this could change as I see the competition go on. But as of right now, even on day 2 of arrivals, there's nothing that's gone on that has made me think otherwise, that she shouldn't. My final thought is that Divita, if you're watching this, if you're not, I know you're so busy, but if you see this, go kill it. Do not let these leaderboards discourage you from thinking that you're not going to place high. I don't think that you've thought that at all. But, I feel like I've learned so much from your reign thus far, and so have many others. And I feel like, thanks to a growing interest in pageantry once again in India, that you have a really great support system. Many of us Desi folk, us Indian folks, us Indian Americans are rooting for you. And especially you're a South Indian girl. A lot of times South Indians don't get representation. I know not everyone knows that, but there's a lack of South Indian representation in general in India. So to see a South Indian specifically on that stage being represented and representing India is really encouraging. So I don't have any doubt that you can go out there and kill this. You definitely have competition. All the girls are equally capable. They're equally beautiful. I'm not trying to insinuate that Divita is any better than anyone else. I think they're all amazing. But I'm gonna have a little bit of bias there with that. If you see a giant Indian flag in New Orleans, know it's me. Like I'm waving that thing up for you. So yeah, I need your name to be called. So because I spent money. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I am definitely rooting for India. I hope that you all are too. I don't know of any YouTube pageant vloggers that are Indian American. I think that we definitely need to have more, take up more space and show some more support to our queens. And we need to start talking about their advocacies a lot more. I mean, a lot of people want to trash on beauty pageants and beauty queens, but I don't see how the people who are trashing on like beauty pageants in India, a lot of Indians had an issue with beauty pageants in Hernas Sandhu. I don't see any of you guys highlighting the trans community at all. And I'm queer. So before you even say anything to me, I'm queer. So yeah, I am very happy to see, you know, Live Without highlighting our community. And I'm glad that our trans brothers, sisters, and non-binary identifying individuals are at least being given a platform. Because here's the thing. Of course, these individuals don't need Miss Universe or Miss India to highlight them. They already have their own platform. But a lot of times it's an echo chamber. They're talking to other queer folk. So it's good when someone like Divita, who maybe has a more heterosexual like audience, is being exposed to these queer issues and topics. So yeah, I'm gonna end this off now because it's already 21 minutes and I'm not editing this at all. I'm gonna upload the raw video. It is what it is. Again, I will be attending Miss Universe live. I will have a few more videos out before then, but I will vlog my experience there as well. If you're in New Orleans, please feel free to hit me up. I will link my new Instagram because I'm not going to use my personal one, but I will link my new Instagram specifically to about pageant updates down below in the description box. Please feel free to follow me. Please feel free to DM me. Comment down below your thoughts about Divita, Miss India, Miss Universe in general, what you would like to see moving forward. And yeah, I hope to, you know, put out some more good quality videos, hopefully much better quality than this in the future, after Miss Universe perhaps. And yeah, so go ahead and please give me a like and thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Please go ahead and comment down below your thoughts respectfully. We don't tear anyone down, please. And also, yeah, subscribe if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. All right. Adios. Namaste. Bye.